So good evening, everybody, and welcome to the European launch of the new NRX Plus for spinning and casting. So I'm Raffaele Mascaro, I'm the European brand manager of Loomis, and I'm really amazed tonight to talk about these new fantastic rods together with some friends. One is coming from US, a professional angler, is Jeff Gustafson. So welcome, Jeff.
Hi, guys.
Then we have our Italian-American super angler, Jimmy Ashlock.
Hi to everyone. Hi, everyone.
And then finally, my colleague, Gabriele from Shimano Europe, that is in charge of the product planning for Loomis.
Hi, everyone.
So we have tonight together, we have a three super, let's say, predator and bass fanatic anglers. So I'm just the one that doesn't match with the group of people, with the group of guests, because I'm a fly angler. So nothing to do, unfortunately, with spinning. But I know that you guys are going to talk and to present these beautiful rods in the best possible way for our European followers. So before to start talking about the new rods, let's go with some emotional video just to start warming up about the new NRX Plus.
Let's get started.
Okay, I think that Diego, our colleague of Shimano Italy, got some fun testing the rod nearby small lake nearby Milan, so catching some beautiful bass. But my role tonight is not to go very deep into technical things because you guys are far better than me. But what I would like to talk just a few minutes is about the history of NRX. So I was, I think, one of the very lucky guys in 2010 attending the FTEX show in Valencia, in Spain, where we launched the NRX globally. Already 11 years ago was really something unique that Loomis was introducing in the market. We were coming with some new technologies, with some new material. So everything was different than even before. So compared with GLX, for example. So it was a big progress on technologies, big progress on material. We were already introducing some exciting material, matching some new graphite together with a very new model of nano resin matrix. So Loomis was spending a year of testing at the factory to find the right recipe of graphite and resin and nanotube to get some amazing technology, some amazing material. And suddenly what we had in the hands was really some rods that most of the time as an angler, we start talking about the lightest rods, the most resistant rod, the most sensitive rod. But what I said from the beginning, hey guys, now we have the best ratio, lightness, sensitivity, strength. So something that was really breaking any kind of rule in the market. And this was 11 years ago. So when from G. Loomis factory we say, oh, there will be some new NRX Plus for bass fishing. We say how they can improve what is already existing, what they can do different. So when we receive it at the office, really the first few samples, we say that, hey, this is not just an improvement. Here we are going to change completely again all the rules. So when we say that the next evolution, that's the true next evolution on rods, on predator rods, let's say on bass rods, for both spinning and casting. So we have in hands something that is really totally different. I can say then you guys, that you can tell your experience, your feeling with the new rods. But really we start at the beginning just shaking the rod. When we had just the rod in hands, we start shaking, we start bending, we start casting. We say this is not the something slightly different, something small improvement. No, this is a completely new rod. So we are talking about rod that has unbelievable sensitivity, strength-wise, nothing to say. Weight-wise, big improvement. But then what we said is, okay, when we start casting, we can feel something totally different. We have really the true extension of our arm, or our hands. So we can really feel something that is completely different. We can be very precise. The new Parallax technology that has been used at G. Loomis factory in Woodland, and for European anglers, I want to remind everybody, these rods are fully built in US, in Woodland, Washington State, Pacific Northwest, where there is the only G. Loomis factory in the world. So the guys at the factory, they did their best to make really something for us, just to get big excitement, just to say, hey, we are going to play a new game on spinning and casting. So this is what we want to see. So, and now I want to let Gabriele go in detail about technologies, about materials. And then, of course, Jeff and Jimmy, then you are going to tell us your feeling, your experience with this rod.
Sure.
Yeah? Okay, let's go. Gabri.
Okay, so do we have a video, short emotional video? All right, so NRX Plus, our most technologically advanced carbon pre-packs, as Raf already mentioned, created by blending our best high-grade graphite with exclusive nanoresins. NRX, it's a rod that has been the benchmark of sensitivity within bass rods for over 10 years. So this new NRX Plus completely redefine this standard. It's really amazing. If you pick it up, you immediately understand it's really something different. So not only the NRX material has been renewed, but also new technologies have been implemented on these new rods. So starting with the blank, so the addition of spiral X technology, so an exclusive Shimano technology rod blank construction that is now also US made, so directly applied on the rod blank in the US. So the traditional construction process of a rod blank can suffer blank twists and ovalization, and this of course can cause a lot of power and precision loss. So with the Spiral X technology, a special carbon tape called the Infinity tape is wrapped in tight coils on the inside and on the outside of the blank, basically at 45 degrees in opposite direction. So this not only reduces blank twist and ovalization, but it creates also a much stronger and lighter rod blank because no additional material is added. So the overall result of this technology is a remarkably improved casting accuracy and distance, and of course higher overall strength and lifting power without sacrificing in weight. So in addition to this Spiral X technology, another important feature of this new NRX Plus, as seen also on other Loomis rod models, is the multi-taper design. So a unique Loomis technology that can be best described as a sort of micro tapers within the overall taper of the rod itself. So basically what happens on traditional construction rods is that they are built with one straight tapered mandrel for multiple lengths and actions. So extra graphite is added in order to create the desired action, but this material adds, of course, weight, and it can create weak points due to the varying of the wall thickness of the blank. So the MTD design, the multi-taper design, it makes use of a unique mandrel per each rod with multiple micro tapers. They can be 3 or they can be up to 5, and they can be also of different length. They result in they can be applied on different parts of the rod blank, and the result is of course a very specialistic action. So and the wall thickness of the blanket, it does not vary. So basically, the weak points of the blank are really minimized, and of course this provides also improved strength to the overall blank and strength weight ratio especially. So how this happens? Basically, we developed our engineers in Loomis factory developed a special custom rolling table for these rods. So a special rolling table for each rod in order to obtain the most precise action for each intended application. A blank that uses minimal material and weight, so super light and tailored action for the correct purpose. And these rods are, I have to say, picking up these rods, they are also improved a lot in balance. It's incredible because already the old NRX was super light in hand, super balanced. These rods are really something special. So the result of this blank technology, so basically no twisting at all, no ovalization on the blank. They have a super fast recovery rate. They provide increased casting distance, accuracy, and especially strength, very useful. And last technology applied to this new NRX Plus is regarding the custom reel seat. So for the first time on NRX rods, we are now using CA4 Plus material, so an exclusive Shimano material which is created by the interfusion of carbon and polyamide. So CA4 Plus is about 20% lighter and much stronger than a conventional polymer. So it's an exclusive material of Shimano and Loomis, and it's really something unique in the industry because basically these reel seats are not only more rigid and durable, but they are also very light and strong at the same time. than compared with a conventional plastic reel seat. I need to say that these reel seats are really comfortable too. We saw the spinning version already previously on the Conquest model, and they are really comfortable in hands. Great for transmitting for bite detection, especially with if you pair these rods up with core solid reels, so metal body reels. They transmit really a lot of vibration right to your hand. Then I will go through the very quickly to the overall lineup of the spinning rods. I believe we also have a nice video on the recovery rate of these rods. You can see this slow-mo 1 hour pro stuff casting, and how quick the recovery of this rod blank is in reality. So one unique movement, no twist, no shakes, perfect lure casting. So yeah,
I would say that the recovery rate, the fastness of the recovery rate of this rod is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's ultra fast, and then really going to the stop position, to the rest position, let's say, is instantly. So this was when we were looking the guys testing the rod. This was some of the first things that really was catching the eyes, because it was really okay. Let's see if there is any wobble on the action. Nothing at all. It was a unique movement from the stop moment to the rest. Bang, one movement. That's it.
Exactly, and it was also the same feeling of our pro staff and ambassador who tried out these rods. They cast excellently well.
Hey, what do you think, Jeff?
Yeah.
What do you think, Jeff, about the recovery rate?
Yeah, so I just finished we had a Bassmaster Elite Series event this weekend in Alabama, Neely Henry Lake, and it was all pretty well shallow fishing. I ended up having a tough first day and then pretty good second day and a decent third day. Had a good tournament. I was catching pretty well all my fish on a little swim jig, just reeling it through shallow grass along the bank. And so I'm not the best caster. A lot of the guys that I fish against are every cast is perfect. I'm probably about 70% I'm good. But over over a whole day of casting shallow around trees and cover and docks, like I'm hitting some branches, I'm hitting some docks. Not every cast is perfect. This weekend was the first, my first time fishing with one of the casting rods like all day, and Saturday, and that's the thing that you notice the most. I mean, beautiful when you pick them up, but when you actually start fishing with them, the casting is improved, and the sensitivity is phenomenal too. But like when you cast them and then when you load up on a fish, I mean, that's when you really like just feel how strong they are, but also like just how perfect they are. And I mean, it improved my casting a little bit for sure. Just being able to put my jig in the little holes.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
And which rod did you use the most on this latest tournament in Alabama?
So I got a couple samples. I haven't seen all the rods yet. I was throwing a swim jig on a 853, so a 7-1 3 power with 40-pound Power Pro and a Metanium 7-to-1 reel, and yeah, I mean, just the dream casting machine right there for great spinnerbait rod. Anytime you want to, that little bit. I like in a longer rod, the 7.5, 893 a lot. But this was a lot of tight, more tighter casting and precision casting. So that 7.1 was perfect for that.
Nice. Yeah, excellent precision casting machines.
So this is another story. So I actually won my first Elite Series event earlier this year at the end of February, and on the Tennessee River, and I caught smallmouths. I was fishing. I got one NRX Plus spinning rod earlier, in January, just for some photos. Loomis had hired a photographer, and we went out and took some photos with the rod.
Yeah.
But I got to keep it. So I get, and I wasn't supposed to show anybody or anything. So the first day of this tournament, I go, I slaughtered them. I crushed them, and I was leading after day one. Well, there was several videos of me fishing and some photos going around of me fishing. And then, the next day I was going to have a cameraman in the boat with me and be on Bassmaster Live. So I heard from my, Bob Mahoney, one of my good friends with Shimano Canada. He said, you might not be able to use that rod tomorrow. So I said, I'll be using that rod tomorrow, and I might have threw a couple curse words in there even, and I didn't think much of it. Okay, I'll try to hide it as best I can. And then he called me back after and said, "Hey, you can't use that rod tomorrow. We keep it secret for a little bit yet." So I was kind of pissed because it was so beautiful, and I caught all 5 of the fish I weighed. I'm winning the tournament, and so I never used it the rest of the weekend. I used a regular NRX, and they're beautiful. It was fine too. But the new rods are just so nice. And I would say the regular NRX rods are the nicest fishing rods I've ever used. And now when you lay one of these NRX Pluses on the deck next to it, you don't even want to pick up the old NRX. They're that nice. And I mean, they're not for everybody. They're high end, but if you make your living fishing, or you love to fish, and you take a lot of pride in using the best equipment that you can get, then you have to check these rods out. I mean, they're beautiful.
Nice. Yeah. And
I'm curious, Jeff. What style of fishing was you using catching fish with?
The tournament I won in Knoxville, I was using what they call a Demiki rig. So I was fishing in 18 to 22 feet of water, and I was using a fluke style minnow bait. It was actually a Z-Man 4-inch jerk shad on a 3/8 ounce jig, and I would drop it right below my trolling motor on the front of the boat. I would watch the jig the whole time, and I'd hold it about 3 or 4 feet off the bottom. And the smallmouths were looking up. There was a lot of shad and bait around, and holding that bait up above them was the triggering thing. And then they would just shoot up and hammer it. So, having a sensitive rod like that was important for that technique, because some of the bites, I mean, they would come up and it would be like you were getting punched in the arm. They would just hammer it. But some of them, they would come up and know that, and some of them I would just call it a drive-by. Like they'd actually come here. So here's the bait. They would come up, and I think they would almost hit it with their mouth closed, and you could feel that. I knew not to do this, just sort of hold it there and give it a shake, and then they'd spin around, I think, and come and hammer it. Or if you did miss one, I could feel if my bait was twisted or not sitting straight on my jig, I could feel that. Not, just all those little things just are important in a tournament.
The little things that makes the difference.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Guys, I want just to answer a couple of questions that I've seen from our followers.
Okay.
Who I guess is from Finland, I suppose, from the name. Yeah, all the Spiral X blank now are made in US, are made in Woodland, at the factory in Woodland. What is important to know that, of course, this is a very high-end technology, but what we have to consider is very high-end technology matching with the knowledge of Loomis team. So this means a lot of things, because means using Spiral X together with multi-taper design, together with the new NRX Plus receipt. So it's a really a mix of super high-end things, let's say. So we have super high-end technology, super high-end material, super high-end way of designing rods, but made in US, made in Woodland. Another one was about improvement on the cork. Yes, there has been not only an improvement on the cork, more dense cork, but there has been a big improvement in general on the reel seat, on the handle in general. So we are really talking not just about the cork, but about all the system related to handling the rod. So I have to say also in this sense, there has been very sharp improvement.
Yeah, the handles are really beautiful. The casting handles are brand new and unique, and the spinning rod handles are the same as the conquest rods. If anybody's used those before, they're beautiful. They're an upgrade from the regular rack.
So less bulky handle, more comfortable,
Ergonomic.
Yeah, you can really feel everything. So it's crazy.
That's one of the things that really impressed me was the handle, because that's probably the only thing I didn't like about the RNX old ones. I didn't really like too much about the reel seat. I wasn't much happy about it, but the rod was so good, you went over it. Now it seems like the only thing we have to fix is that thing, and then the rest of it. We were talking about materials, but I'm an end fisherman, and I'm really excited about thinking how this rod here can be a lot more better than the old ones, because I'm really just excited about it, because it is incredible.
I can tell you a short story, because just 2 Sundays ago, so we had a couple of our guys, and Jimmy knows pretty well, Mattia and Diego, training for a bass tournament. And normally they are very quiet. You know, when they go fishing, very quiet. They keep all the secrets, between them. So suddenly it was around 10 o'clock in the morning. I got the phone call. I said, how the hell? Who is calling now? It was Mattia. Mattia was, I can say, I was not crying because I was so happy, but it was very close. I never tried something like this. Never ever. Impossible. This is my rod, and I'm not going to change. I was so excited that say, okay, guys, I fully trust on you. Go ahead, continue fishing. But they were so excited about the rod. It was amazing.
It's really impressive. I really love these rods. They're incredible and they're beautiful. That's, like I said, the reel seat makes the difference. I love that part right there, and I think it's going to make a real difference, especially on sensitivity using that.
Well, I don't want to stop Gabriele, but I have to say that also the guiding setup as well for both the casting models and the spinning models is going to do also big difference, increasing sensitivity, increasing precision, increasing casting distance. So the way that the line is going through the guide is so smooth, so without any resistance, that suddenly you can feel, oh, I can cast farther than before without any effort. So it's the full match of is the combination of several aspects of the rod that is making big difference. So it's really, yeah, amazing.
The other thing too, guys, 28 models, different models. So they got you covered for virtually every single technique that you want. And then there are technique specific rods. There's going to be a bladed jig rod. We got a drop shot rod, a Ned rig rod, and then just your 903 MBR Star, that's a really popular one. 893 is one of my favorite, spinnerbait, football jig, just kind of a do everything casting rod. So yeah, Carolina rig rod. I mean, all the different, like the major techniques for bass, pretty much are covered in the lineup.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So very, very extensive lineup of rods. So 28, so 12 spinning rods and 16 bait casting rods. So starting with the talking about the spinning lineup. So Fuji SIC titanium K-frame and recoil mixed guides, and we have different application. We have different applications. So ranging from the jig and worm to the spin jig rod to the more finesse technique rods. So drop shot, shaky head, and Ned rig rod. I'm quite curious about the Ned rig rod. If Jeff, you somehow contributed to this development, because I know it's a technique that is very popular for smallmouth fishing in Canada and US.
Yeah. No, that's going to be one of my favorites for sure. A Ned rig for me is it catches. It's very well known as like a limit catching bait. Catch fish on it, but like for smallmouths, it catches. In the last couple of years, I've caught more like giants and big ones on a Ned rig than anything else. I mean, it's just a great technique. So, gonna have the perfect rod for that.
Also, I imagine to throw light hair jigs, for example. It is quite a popular bait for old school bait for a lure for smallmouth.
Yeah, we got the 901 and the 902. Those are going to be really popular. They were a limited run over here, so they sort of came and then they were gone. And they had another little run of them last year, and I know they sold them all. But that's going to be really popular. Those two rods, you can kind of use either or, but like I'm a big fan of the 901 I don't know if anyone throws spy baits over there, but a really good clear water bait for, if it's fishing stuff, if it's cold. It's a great way to catch big smallmouths over here as well. And you need a really soft, long rod to make long casts, and then also to just provide a lot of shock absorption. Because a spy bait has small hooks on it, and it has to work properly. So you need that long, light rod just so you don't tear the hooks out, and you can catch a 5-pounder on that little, those little treble hooks with that rod. It's just all part of the system.
Yeah, they have a great progression of power, these rods, because they are so sensitive and soft in the tip, and then they can load up very easily, and they keep the fish hooked. So
yeah, and like, hey, I don't lose very many fish over the course of the year. I mean, everyone's going to, but like some of my friends, I mean, I had a couple of my good friends this weekend. They lost 5 fish in one day, and I'm like, I just don't do that. And I mean, it's you're going to lose some here and there, but I think that's just part of it. It's just I'm using better equipment, and these rods are just perfect. Whether it's just I feel the bites better or they just load up properly, and that's the one thing I notice with these rods is when you actually like set the hook and load up on a fish. I mean, it just feels so good. There's a lot of, as soft and light as the tips are, there's a lot of power in the middle part of the rod. And, I like to show them who's the boss.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jimmy, I can imagine they are also very suitable for our more finesse European techniques, right?
Yeah, sure. Finesse technique, the drop shot rigs, the shaky head, and also the spy baits. We've been using spy baits lately. It's something been going on over here too. So
very often they are game changer techniques.
Like I've been a lover of finesse techniques in the last 5 years, because fishing in the small bodies of water and having fish under a lot of pressure is really important.
So
a different. Sometimes I have a different presentation because they're not always active, and sometimes going small, light, really helps you out. And I've been fishing Ned rig lately, and I've been having good luck with it. And then all those kind of techniques that makes me have to use small diameters of line, 6 pound, 8 pound test line, and the rods are just incredible how they perform when you catch a big fish, because they power on the fish and they unpower on the fish, and they'll just stay with him. And it's just like playing a video game sometimes. Like Jeff say, I don't know. I think the rods makes a lot of difference on this case, right? Especially on this case. It'd be easy to use big power rods, flipping rods. That's more guerrilla style fishing. But when you go down finesse, it's incredible. They really make the difference. Absolutely.
Yeah. So jig and worm, spin jig, drop shot, shaky head rod, Ned rig rod, all with a specific action tailored for that specific fishing application, ranging from short, so from the shortest 6'8" up to 7'6" of the 9.0. Then we can go to the bait casting. We can go through the bait casting lineup. So we have a short video.
Okay.
All right, so also here a super extensive lineup of rods. So 16 different rods, ranging from jig and worm applications, mag bass applications, Carolina rig, and bladed jig. So yes, do you maybe guys want to talk about these different applications a bit? Like I'm quite curious about the bladed jig rod, for example, that I tried out already on within the IMX Pro range. And I was really amazed by this specific action developed for bladed jigs. I found this is a very good rod also, for instance, for some kind of spinner baits, or in general for bladed baits, because it has this soft tip that is able to load up the vibration of the lure, but still a lot of backbone and action to set the hook, actually. So, Jeff, have you been using this rod already?
I haven't used the bladed jig rod yet, but I've used the IMX Pro bladed jig rod. It's beautiful. It's new also. But yeah, I'm really excited for this one. No, the casting, I've used the 903 and the 853. Those are the two that I got, and they're like I said, I don't even want to pick anything else up. I was retying different baits on those two rods over the weekend just because I didn't even want to use anything else. They're that nice, like legit.
How would you best describe the difference between a jig and worm and a mag bass taper? So
the jig and worm rods are going to be a little bit softer tips, like softer at the tip, and then backbone in the middle part. The mag bass rods are just sort of like a heavier action in general. They feel a little bit more like a GLX in the action, but they're light. They're very light. But that's the best sort of difference that I can tell. So, if you're doing more like light flipping, fishing baits with bigger hooks on it. That's the rods that I would choose.
Yeah. And jig and worm rods, of course, perfect. Extra fast action for bottom contact baits, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy, also, what is your favorite action of these NRX rods?
Well, my favorite action is the 853. I love that rod because I can do a lot of stuff with it. I use it for small jig fishing. I use it to small Texas, and sometimes I use it with a spinnerbait too.
Very versatile rod.
Yeah, it's a real versatile rod. You can really do a lot of stuff with it. And like Jeff said, I prefer. It depends what you want to do between a jig and worm and a mag bass. A mag bass, I prefer using it when I have a big 4.0 hook or a 5.0 hook, and I'm fishing in Texas because it gives me that extra stiff. It's more stiff. And
Yeah,
you can get a better hook set, especially when you're fishing in heavy cover, especially in trees where I live. I have a river that's full of trees and branches, and that's where I think best use in those places would be good to use a rod like that because you have that extra power that really is really hard to make a person understand what it feels like. But when you get the rod in your hand, you feel the difference. But if you just grab the rod like this and just try to move it, you won't feel it. You need to fish with it, and you'll feel the difference. You really will feel the difference because you'll feel that extra strength on a mag bass, and you'll feel better with a jig and worm when you're fishing better on open water or grass beds and stuff like that. Because a lot of times when you get those short hookups, you don't want to pull that fish too hard because it's easy you can rip that hook out his mouth. And that's the times the jig and worm comes out work better in certain situations, especially when they're not eating real good.
Yeah. And we also have a special Carolina rig rod, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I'm not a Carolina rig fisherman. Short, better like split shot fishing. But when I fish, I use a IMIX Pro for that kind of technique, and I imagine this rod here can just be a lot better than the MX Pro, and the MX Pro is a really good rod, so I just can believe it's good. So
yeah. And Jeff, do you use a lot of the Carolina rig? I'm quite curious about that, or it's also.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things I always have tied on, and a Carolina rig. Like I used to fish the FLW tour, and we would have co-anglers. We don't have co-anglers on the Elite Series, but I used to have co-anglers, and for 5 or 6 years I did that. I saw more co-anglers catch bass on a Carolina rig than any other rig by far. And the beauty of it, if you are a co-angler, this is good. This is a good tip. You can fish a Carolina rig in, from 4 feet of water to 30 feet of water. Put a heavy weight on it. Just get it to the bottom. You're not getting bites on the fall. You just want it on the bottom. And it doesn't matter how fast the pro is fishing, what kind of stuff he's fishing. A Carolina rig is just very versatile. Catches all 3 speed, spotted bass, smallmouths, largemouths, and it's definitely a good bait to have in the arsenal. And that rod's well designed for it. For Carolina.
Yeah, I can imagine you also need a lot of sensitivity right here because you have this bullet weight between your lure and you, so you also need to feel that bite. So it's
going to help you feel the fish bite. But also, I've been using the last couple of years. I've been actually using tungsten weights for Carolina rig fishing, and you could use lead because I'm using usually a 3/4 ounce most of the time because I just want it to get to the bottom. And with tungsten, it's so much more sensitive, so I can actually feel when I hit those little hard spots, whether it's rock or sand, shells, whatever it is. You can feel that stuff, and that can, prepare you for, I'm hitting the good stuff now. I'm about to get a bite, maybe, or sometimes it's worth casting back to that spot again if you felt something good on the bottom.
Yeah. All right, so now we have a short video on a casting. A short slow-mo video where you can see how efficient these blanks are. So also here, a lot of extra sensitivity thanks to the new custom reel seat that I see. It still leaves some space for the rod blank to be exposed, like in the old one, but it's much more comfortable in hand. All right, so we have some time for questions.
Yeah, there are a few questions. I start from the last one that say no fly rods. Unfortunately, Robert. So we introduced an RX Plus fly rod already 1 year ago. So there are already many models in the market about fly fishing. So if you have
the fly fisherman.
would be excited. Say again. Say again, Jeff.
The fly fishermen, they already had their turn.
Exactly. Now it's our turn.
Let us have our day.
And then another one from an Italian guy, Paolo. Did Loomis redefine the way to make the future blanks? We are an RX Plus composite, making again 10 years ahead, at least we respect competitors. I would say yes, because G. Loomis normally is going to introduce, when he's going to introduce a new series of rods, it's because there is something special to introduce. It's not just like marketing. It's not just, okay, every couple of years we are going to renew the lineup because the market is asking to renew. They are not going to do this kind of game. They prefer to have really technologies, something unique in technology, something unique on materials, and then they introduce. When there is something that to say, hey, this is something making the difference, then G. Loomis is going to introduce. Maybe it can be 5 years, maybe it can be 7. For an RX was almost 11 years. And I have to admit that still many anglers, they ask for the regular RX because they are satisfied. But of course, now there will be new age, let's say, on bass fishing rods that is coming. So a new story to write.
Well,
So,
I believe
hey guys, first of all, I want to say thank you to all of you for attending this live event. So Jeff, good luck for your tournaments, okay? So Jimmy, same to you because very soon also you are going to start your season.
yes.
And Gabriele, I know that is waiting to start using the new NRX Plus, not for bass fishing, but more for predator, more for pike and zander and perch, because these are beautiful rods, of course, for bass, but they are beautiful rods for any kind of freshwater predator, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to say hi to my buddy Mattia, and I can't wait until someday. It's going to be someday soon. Once we get back to normal, but I'm coming over there to go bass fishing, and I can't wait. So I look forward to meeting a bunch of you guys. And but yeah, thanks for having me.
We are waiting for you in Italy. Don't forget it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it,
guys.
All right, take care.
Bye bye. Jeff, I'll get with you later.